Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Bizzy. I hope you enjoyed today's story. And if you do, please subscribe. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Bizzy. It is episode 544. How is everybody today? I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to let you guys know a couple of house cleaning things. For one, did you listen to my 543 with Father Jeff Pomsil? Oh my gosh. Amazing. Amazing. I hope you listen to it. I really hope you will take the time to go back and listen to it. He touches on so many things that so many people don't want to talk about because they're like, oh my gosh, that's too personal or whatever. But please go and take a listen to 543. Also, want to do a little shout out to Christian Bling Jewelry, CB Jewelry. My necklace is from them. Isn't it gorgeous? I love it. So if you're interested in any jewelry, go to CB Jewelry. And the free shipping password is Bizzy, Bizzy. Go check that out. That is really important. So I'm going to put a little link in the in today's description. So you can just go straight to the link and it'll take you to CB Jewelry. Secondly, I wanted to let you guys know that I am going to be traveling at the end of May. And I decided for May, June, July, and I guess indefinitely, if I don't have a guest that I find that you guys would be interested in, or let's be honest, that I would be interested in interviewing, I'm not going to have guests on Mondays. So don't think that every Monday I'm going to have a guest. This week, I think you're going to get my hubby because, again, he hasn't come on in April, and I'll be dropping that again in May, but he didn't come on the whole entire month of April. So we will get one more with my husband in. And then if I get anybody else, they'll drop on Monday. But I'm taking the pressure off myself to Mondays and letting you know that Mondays, you might get one and you might not get one. You might get an old episode, but if it's going to be somebody on a Monday, I'm going to tell you this, it's going to be worth you listening to. I'm not just going to waste your time with just filling it with fluff. I have a lot of people that are writing to me, but if they aren't the right guest, I think for you guys to listen to, I'm not going to drop it. So I'm not going to have them on. It's just the reality. I get to make that choice. Secondly, which I'm going to mention again at the end of the show, is would you be interested in coming to a retreat? And it would not just be me. I would actually have other people hosting. I'm thinking about putting it together in October, but I'm just throwing it out there now in April, the last day of April. I wanted to throw it out there. Would you be interested in A, going to a retreat in the fall here in the US in Florida? And B, what are your thoughts about me organizing a trip to Medjugorje? Would you be interested in that? Let me know. DM me or send me an email at elizabeth@elizabethchance.com. Or again, you can DM me wherever you're watching or listening to your podcast. I would love to hear your opinions on what you thought of that. And so I will be traveling at the end of May in the first couple weeks of June. So I'm definitely, unless I have stuff to put up, I'm not going to just share anything. And I'm hoping to be sharing you new content from Europe. I might not have to be able to do that just because of technology. Heck, we just saw that there's blackouts all over Spain and all over Portugal. So I'm already like, oh my gosh, am I even going to be going? Because I hope they have power. It's just so much crazy stuff is going on in the world today, isn't there? And you just think about it and you're like, wow, is this the ending? And the craziest thing is, I thought that when I got sober, that my life was going to be over. I thought, this is it. I'm not going to have a life anymore. It's going to be boring. I'm not going to have anything to do. Nobody's going to find me fun. Nobody's going to think I'm like, I thought it was like the end. This is it. Make no mistakes where you are. I'm like at the end. And I thought, I'm never going to have a life again. And that was the biggest lie I could have ever taught myself. Endings aren't really endings, but they're beginnings in disguise. Do you hear me? Endings aren't really endings. They're just the stop of one thing and the start of something new. There's that old saying that when God closes a door, he opens a window. So when you go and you attempt to get to this place that you're like, I'm sick of being in this place. whatever it is, if you're sick and tired of drinking, if you're sick and tired of fighting with somebody in your life, if you want to go to the gym and you want to start working out more, if you want to eat well and you've been going to McDonald's all the time and you're like, I got to stop. How are you going to do that? You're going to end your relationship with that thing. But that doesn't mean your life is over, right? For me, I thought I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm never going to have fun again. I'm turning myself in. It's over. There's not going to be any more life to me. It's just going to be, just sitting in a church basement, going to meetings. I'm never going to have friends. I'm never going to do anything. And that was the biggest lie, because what I realized afterwards was that I was living in my own private hell for until I was 37. My options were off. It was like, what was I going to do? I wasn't going to sit here and not drink. That was like, there was no other option but to drink in my life. So I realized that I was under the divine mercy of like alcohol, whatever alcohol. Like I believed that I couldn't do anything without it. Like I need it so I can go here and I can go there. And if I don't have it, I'm not going to be okay. Because the reality was, if I didn't have it, I was going to have to face who I was. I was going to have to look in the mirror and feel the feelings that I had and all the remorse, all the sadness, all the regret, all the yucky stuff that we carry in this backpack. It was all I cared about, right? I was like, I'm gonna have to look at the stuff that I've been carrying, and I don't want to. Because if I look at it, I'm gonna feel shame, I'm gonna feel remorse, I'm gonna feel sadness, I'm gonna feel regrets. Oh, I'm gonna wish that I had a time machine, which I don't have, and none of us have as of yet. I wanted to have a time machine so I could go back and redo things. And what I've realized in time is that it was just opening me up for a whole new beginning of life, which was, for one, unpacking that backpack slowly. It was slow. It was really slow that it took me to unpack that backpack. But I unpacked it piece by piece, and I looked at it, and I dealt with it, and I put it to bed. And now I don't carry it anymore. Like, how much freedom is that? I thought it was free carrying this backpack. It wasn't free at all. This backpack of resentments, and the biggest resentment I had was towards myself, not towards anybody else. I wanted to blame things on others, but the reality was what I wanted to really blame my stuff on was me. It was me. I didn't have somebody saying, go this way. This is the way you should go with your life. It's going to be beyond your wildest dreams, or go this way. But when I walked into a 12-step meeting, they were like, your life is going to become your wildest dreams. And I was like, bullshit. I didn't believe that. But the reality was they were telling me the truth. Because the idea of like material stuff being the end all be all, I mean, it's nice and all, but it doesn't define who I am. It's stuff, right? I grew up in a world where it was all about the stuff. But being able to unpack the material stuff and the feelings, I was then able to have this life beyond my wildest dreams, because it's not about the stuff. It's about me and being okay with me and those around me. It's not about these stories of the past that I need to carry around and regurgitate my entire life. Like, who cares what happened in 1987? Not me. 1988. Nope, not me. I'm in 2025. All my entire body. I'm right here in this moment, and God is in this moment with me. I'm not in this. And for so long, I kept staring backwards. And it kept me in a place of utter, just stagnant. I was stagnant and growing as a human being. And I don't have to do that. I made that choice to join that 12-step room almost over 18 years ago. And now here I am, and I have new beginnings all the time. So don't ever think that the ending means it's over, because endings for relationships, especially, and a relationship with alcohol or drugs, for one, it's a new beginning. You're just having a new life, and you're going to unpack that backpack that you've been carrying with all your stuff. Just give yourself the grace and the time to do that. Don't rush anything. Take your time. Take your time. Be kind to yourself. Some days you're going to want to go deep, and some days you're not. You only know that. Be kind to yourself. That's the most important thing. And it's when we choose a better life, it's not a punishment, you guys. It's a gift. I always thought it was so interesting that when I was working in a treatment center years ago, this is almost 2 decades ago, and I was working in this treatment center. And for one, the people would come up to the nurse's station and be like, "What are you giving me? What are you giving me? I don't understand. What are you giving me?" And this would be a doctor or nurse that had the education to be a doctor, an MD, or a nurse. And they would say, these patients would say to the person, to the doctor or the nurse giving out the medication to help them get off medication, get off alcohol or drugs. And they'd be like, "What are you giving me? What are you giving me?" I'd always be shocked by that. I'd be like, they're giving you something so you're comfortable when you get off your drugs. And they're a doctor and they're a nurse and they have an education, not the person you scored your stuff off the street. Like, they definitely, that person that's off the street, definitely, it was not a doctor. You're a drug dealer, was not a doctor or a nurse for that matter. So how did they know what they were giving you? They didn't. They didn't know what they were giving you. They didn't know if it was laced with fentanyl, what it was laced with. But we think that when we have to get clean and sober, that it's a punishment, that living in reality is a punishment. But it's quite the contrary. Because when you live in the present moment, you can make decisions. When you're under the influence of drugs and alcohol, you cannot make logical decisions, right? Your decisions are made by a whim. You're not taking time to ponder a pros and cons list. You're not really making a decision because of information you have. You're just not. You're making a decision because it's like, I have to make a decision. Oh my God. And I just want to get high again, so I don't have to make this decision. And the reality is that when we make decisions, we normally have to live with the consequences. So if we are making decisions that aren't good while we're in our alcoholism, which I had many bad things happen to me when I was drinking, many bad things. And I had to get through that. I had to get through those hard things. It was hard, and dealing with decisions I'd made in the past. But those decisions that I made who I am today. But the decisions I've made in the past almost 19 years have been decisions that I've made because I thought I was making the best decision for where I was at the time. I wasn't making any decisions because I wanted to hurt somebody. I made decisions that I thought were in the best interest for everybody in my life. And some of my decisions were good and some of my decisions were bad in the end. But we all make good and bad decisions, right? We all make good and bad choices. Those good and bad choices, whatever they are, we learn from them. If we don't learn from them, then it was a waste of time, right? Who wants to make the same mistakes over and over and over again? Not me. I don't want to do that. I don't want to make the same bad choices time in and time out. I just don't. I want to make good decisions, but I can't make good decisions if I'm under the influence, because our brain gets skewed when we digest drugs or alcohol, right? Everything becomes a little laxy. We can't comprehend like we normally could. We make bad choices. It's just the truth. The bad choices we make under the influence. I guess some people make smart choices when they're drinking or doing drugs, but I don't think many do. Like, who decides in their, like, when they're sober as church mouse to decide to get into the car with somebody who's been drinking? I think that would be a no-brainer. You wouldn't do that. If you were sober, you'd be like, that person can't even walk and I'm going to get into a car with them. I don't think so. I think a strong individual would not get into a car while they are sober with somebody that's been drunk. Maybe I'm wrong. But see, the real truth of everything is like getting okay with you. Like, we spend so much time, at least I spent so much time trying to figure out what everybody else wanted me to be like. And so I could be popular, quote unquote popular. I wanted to be a popular person. What I really wanted, if we're going to be really technical, is I wanted love. I wanted unconditional love because I'd never really felt that, right? I didn't get my needs met when I was a child. It's just reality. I can't go back there, but I know it now. Hindsight being 2020, I didn't get the love I wanted then. So what did I do? I reached for it in other situations. I wanted people pleasing. I wanted people to pay attention to me. I wanted people to like me. I wanted people to love me. If I do this, they'll love me. If I do that, they're going to love me. But the problem was I didn't love myself. I didn't think I was lovable. How many of us feel like that? We live in a land of complete and utter confusion. We don't know right from wrong a lot of times these days, especially the young people. They don't go to church. They don't spend time in church. A lot of people anymore. They just don't. Sports happen on the weekends. How are we going to go to church? We can't get as much done in the weekend. We have too many things to do, too many places to go, too many sports, too many things to do other than go to church. We can shop. When I was growing up, nothing was even open on Sundays. Now everything's open. I was so happy to see Lowe's was closed on Easter Sunday. That hadn't happened. But lest I regress, I think we all need that time to relax and fall in love with ourselves and realize, like, we don't need to like do all this stuff to ourselves on the outside, because guess what? The reality is we do all this stuff on the outside, but the inside still feels sad, lost, and remorseful. Our insides still feel that hole in the soul. If we don't take the time to figure out why we have such a hole in our soul, we can do the outside stuff, but it doesn't always sink in, right? And we're like, why did I do this to myself? I had somebody just talked to recently, this gentleman I know, and he was like, he had his eyes done, okay? And he was like, oh my God, I totally regret doing that. I totally regret it. Why did I do that? We all feel like that, right? We're like, why did we do this? Did I really have to do this? Well, I was hurting so much on the inside. I had to fix something. And I can't fix my soul. I can't fix my heart. So I fixed stuff on the outside. Problem is, the outside only lasts a minimal time. Minimal. It's really interesting because my little hole in my soul was really being filled by shopping for many years, many years. And then I gave up shopping, and I remember, like, how are your kids? And I'm like, my kids are adults. My kids are not kids anymore. My kids have flown the coop. They grew up and they flew away. And I feel like it's because I failed. Oh my God, I was so bad. I was such a bad mom. And the reality is that they're supposed to fly away and they're supposed to get their own lives. Well, you were this and you were that. And as I mentioned earlier, none of us have a time machine, can go back and change the way we raised our kids, because I think we all did the best we could do. And us moms have to stick together. We have to stick together. Some of you are so lucky, and your kids live in your neighborhood, and your kids talk to you all the time, and your kids want to be with you all the time, and you are blessed. That is so great. But for some of the rest of us, our kids fly away and they talk to us when they are available to talk to us. And they have their partners and spouses and engagements and all of that with the people in their lives. And they have a lot of friends, and they don't want to talk to their mom all the time. And that is okay. Does that mean I failed as a mom, that my kids don't want to be up my, you know what, and don't want to hang out with me all the time? Does it mean I failed? Because for a long time I didn't. I was more worried about what you thought about me than what I thought about myself. What is everybody going to think? I'm going to be so embarrassed. My kids aren't talking to me. Isn't that so sad? Well, the reality is it was sad. It was sad when it first happened. I was devastated. But guess what? I had to grow up. Not only did my children have to grow up, but I had to grow up. And I had to realize that they were going to go and have their own lives. I had to realize that they were going to leave the confines of the four walls that I housed them in. That was their home. That they were going to grow up and get their own homes and move to the cities they wanted to move to. They were going to go on their own journeys. They were going to make decisions like I made decisions, and make some good ones and make some bad ones. They were going to go, and they're going to keep doing that. They're going to make choices that maybe I want to say, oh, don't do that. Please, it's not a good choice. They're like, I don't care what you think. They don't care what I think. Is it because they think I'm a bad person, or was a bad mom? Or is it just that they needed to go make choices for themselves, and they need to learn the lessons that they need to learn? And it's not about me. Can you imagine that? It's not about you. You raise your kids. They go and they pick who they're going to be with for the rest of their lives, or at least for the moment. And they pick that person, and it's not about you, and you can't be offended about it. How does that feel in your heart? It feels yucky, right? You're like, I don't want to feel this feeling. It feels terrible. What are my friends going to think? I don't have Sunday dinner and everybody doesn't come, and it feels so lonely, and they don't come home for Christmas, and I can't go on Facebook and have these pictures with my children. It's all bullshit that we believe the social media. What's important is how you are doing as a human being. Because at the end of the day, we're not just moms or dads. We are human beings. We are human beings, and we have to fall in love with ourselves. I mean, it was so hard for me. I mean, I sat there. When they were little, I was like, I can't wait for them to grow up. I can't wait for them to go carry their own pail to the beach. I can't wait till they carry their own suitcase and their raincoat and they make their own lunch, and they don't forget something on their way to school, that I have to go drive to school in the middle of the day because they forgot a cleat for practice. And I just can't wait till they don't forget. And then they get into college, and you can't wait for them to get to college, because then they get to college and then you don't need, but then they get to college and then they call you and they need you then too. And then you go and you show up and you go to parents' weekend and you go and you spend all this money and you go do all this stuff and you spend all this time and all this energy. And for me, I got sober when they were little. So why aren't they talking to me? Well, the reality is they had to go grow up, and they had to get out from under me and my controlling self. And it's okay. But me focusing on me and what's important to me, thank God I like to do so many different things. Golf, needlepoint, swim, walk, travel. I could go on ad nauseum what I like to do. And for so long, I was all worried about them. But now it's time for me to worry about me. How am I going to make things happen? That doesn't mean you're selfish, by the way. It doesn't mean you're selfish to fall in love with you. It doesn't. On the contrary, take care of you. We live in such a chaotic world. We want to be safe, and we want our kids to see us strong. But I'm going to keep walking because I have faith that everything's going to work out the way that God wants it to. And why do I think that? Because it's happened my entire life. Because I haven't been able to stare at the door or the window that's closed. I've had to pivot. I've had to pivot many times in my life, like a lot of you have too. Let's just face it. We all have to pivot. And pivoting's okay if we have faith and we have trust in something bigger than us. And for me, it's God. Like, I know God has me. I mean, when I was offered that trip to go to Medjugorje, I could have said no. No, I'm not doing that. But I said yes. Everything that's happened in my life has happened for a reason. And I have faith. I have faith that everything's going to be okay, because I thought that quitting drinking wasn't going to be okay, but it was actually the exact opposite of being okay. It's been fabulous. So having faith, staying in the day, you guys, living with hope and faith, like getting up in the morning and dancing in the kitchen, getting up in the morning and saying, thank you, God, for today. Getting up in the morning and saying, this too shall pass. Nothing is stagnant in this world. Nothing. Nothing. Change is constant. Embrace it. Embrace you. Choose faith over fear. Don't stay in a constant state of fear, because fear comes out sideways more times than not. It's always like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And we sit there so fearful that we miss everything because we're so worried about what may happen. Who knows what's going to happen, you guys? All I can say is hold tight. Hold on tight. Because if we get to this place where we let go, which I thought myself, letting go meant letting go of control and that life was going to be horrible. It's been quite the contrary. The more I let go, the easier times get. It just gets easier. Life gets easier one day at a time. And the more you go, I don't know. I'm going to try my best, but I don't know what the outcome's going to be. It's on God. The more you do that, the freer you get. Try it. Try it. So to recap, I'm going to be on and off on Mondays, you guys. I'm always going to be on Wednesdays. Let me know what your thoughts are on a retreat this fall here in Florida. What are your thoughts on that? And if you have thoughts on that, what month would you prefer? Let me know by DM or email me, elizabeth@elizabethchance.com. What are your thoughts on going to Medjugorje? I want to hear that too. Please let me know about that. And I will be traveling. And I also want to say, if you or somebody you know needs a coach, I'm coaching again. I have clients. I'm happy to say that again. And you don't have to do this life alone unless you want to. And if you're willing to invest in you and you need help along the way, I've been through a lot and I can help you along your road of happy destiny. So reach out. Please reach out with any questions, any comments. And I just want you to know this. Have some faith today. Nothing in God's world is we're on this journey, you guys. We're on a journey. Ooh. It's like the ocean. There's going to be highs. There's going to be lows. But we learn from the lows. Don't forget that. We learn from the lows as much as we learn from the highs. And it's getting to this place that I'm like, I can ride this. I don't know what it's going to look like in the end. All we all know is one day we'll be checking out. That's just reality. So while you're here, you might as well enjoy the ride and just know this. It's just for today. It's just for today. Tomorrow might look totally different. Enjoy, you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. If you did, please take a chance to subscribe on wherever you're watching this. Press subscribe. And if you want my newsletter, go to elizabethchance.com. Go to the bottom. It's on the left, I think it is. And it says sign up for my newsletter, and it'll come right into your inbox on Fridays. That is enough from me. I am giving you guys fair warning. I am taking off to almost 3 weeks. So I am going to do that. I'm going to take off time for me and just regroup and travel. So when I come back, you'll get me live, but that's not for another month. So until then, you'll see me every week. Maybe on a Monday, maybe not. We'll see. We're going to see what it's going to look like, you guys. I'm letting go. Trust in God. Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening. Sending big hugs and kisses. Love ya. Bye. Thanks for listening to Conversations with Bizzy. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, if you could subscribe, that would mean the world to me. And follow me on all social media. And you can also get my newsletter every Friday morning into your inbox. Just go to elizabethchance.com and subscribe. Take care.